Welcome back to the channel. I'm Felicia, and in today's video I'm going to talk about breastfeeding. Guys, it's if you know, you know, but it's a whole chore. I don't want to say chore, but it's a whole chore. So please continue to watch. Thanks for coming back to the channel. If you haven't done so already, please remember to subscribe. And let's go ahead and hop into the video. So breastfeeding, you know, let's just, it's a wonderful thing. I'm not gonna lie, it's a wonderful thing. It's something I've done with all of my kids. It is a big responsibility. I don't like to say it's a chore, but it's a lot sometimes. It's a lot. So for me personally, I like to breastfeed my kids. One, the research I've done, the doctors I've spoken to, breastfeeding is just the best way, or the most recommended way, or I don't want to say, I really don't like to say the best, because I mean, everyone's different, you know. What's best for me may not be best for you, and vice versa. So I don't really like to say the best, but for me it is, you know. If you know me, you know I like free. I really like the fact that I don't have to pay so much money for formula. I know exactly not exactly what's in my breast milk, but I know exactly what I'm eating. I know what I'm kind of passing on to my kids, so I love that fact of it. But the action, like just doing it, it's a lot. I breastfeed my kids for an entire year. Okay, so I've had 2 sets of twins, I have had 2 singletons, and now another set of twins. And it's a lot. I think just the responsibility of it is a lot. Keeping up with the maintenance, and it's a task, you know. So let's just get into it. Now, when I say it's a lot, I'm saying for me, I pump, okay? So I don't directly breastfeed my kids, but I do express milk. So I don't know for me if that is why I say it's a lot, because I do have to make sure that I am on a tight schedule, and I found that this works best for me. I am on a strict schedule where I know my kids like to eat every 3 hours. So I pump 15, honestly, to be honest, I actually pump about 20 minutes or 30 minutes ahead of schedule, because I pump for actually 15 minutes. And I then have to put the milk in a bottle or put it in storage, which really I don't do the storage thing yet, but I put it in the bottle, then I have to get ready to feed the kids. So by the time I do all that, it's about 20-30 minutes. And I like to do it, make sure I'm scheduling to do it before they're starting to whine, before they're getting up, because if the kids or the babies are already at the point where they are hungry, yelling, you know, crying, it can get like overwhelming, okay? So I like to make sure that I'm doing it before they're getting to that point. And you will find your rhythm, and you'll kind of see the flow of your baby, so you'll know, because I'm not gonna lie, like it's not exactly every 3 hours every time. So I know in the evenings it may be 2 hours and 45 minutes. So once you get to know your baby, you'll know kind of how their feeding schedule is going to go. So you'll know how to prepare yourself and set that schedule for pumping, okay? Because it's no joke. It's not fun to have crying babies, 4 other kids, that's chaos, and then you're trying to pump and get, you know, it can be a little overwhelming at times. So that's what I'm saying. Being prepared is everything. That is the key. It really is just the key to a successful pumping, breastfeeding schedule, okay? Now, the reason why, I know my doctors have asked me, friends and family has asked me, like, why do you pump instead of just breastfeeding. Now, for me, I'm a working mom, okay? So yes, I do get time off in the beginning when I first have my babies, and I take additional time off or whatever. But I know that eventually I do have to return back to work. So for me, I didn't really see a point in breastfeeding and kind of getting over or getting used to that whole journey, pain, process, and then having to disrupt it with pumping when I go back to work. So I didn't want my babies to have a transition, or like, you know, be having to go from strictly breastfeeding to then bottle feeding, and then back to breastfeeding when I come back home, because I did read a lot of like they can have like nipple confusion and all these other things. So I was just like why do all that when I'm gonna end up having to pump? And let's just start off pumping from the beginning, putting it in a bottle, giving it to the babies. Like, I'm not here to make it more difficult, you know. Again, like I said, I'm one of those moms where I don't really, and don't crucify me, I don't feel like just because I breastfeed or express milk, I don't feel like it's more superior than a person who buys formula and feeds their baby. It's just a choice. And I don't feel like, I know I've read and heard so many stories where people say like they feel a closer bond to their baby, but I mean, that's not the case for me. I still have a very close bond and still have that mommy me time when I'm feeding them, and it's amazing. So I personally do not criticize other people for their choices. You do what works for you, and I feel like that's the most important thing. As long as your baby's healthy, they're feeding, you know, they're getting what they need to get, and who cares? Who cares how or what method you use? Like, you know, I'm just here to really pretty much encourage you guys. If you're, you know, going through this, if you're thinking about it, you're trying to determine which way is best for you, this is what worked for me. And also, the reason I also express milk instead of putting them directly on the boob, my first set of twins, they were in the NICU. So they were both in the NICU for, my son was in the NICU for a week. My daughter was a little less than a week. And I had to pump and put it in the little hospital tubes, and, you know, so they can feed them when I left at night. And even when I was there, they were so small. And let's just be honest, my boobs are huge. I feel like they're really big. I didn't feel comfortable putting my babies, like, I didn't feel comfortable. So for me, my comfort level stopped at pumping, putting it in a bottle, feeding them. It worked. When I came home, we continued that, and that's what it was. Another great benefit is, not only do I get the experience feeding my babies, but my husband does too. So if he wants to feed them, here's the bottle, you can feed them too. You know, I feel like it's not really, you know, it's not just about mom bonding with the babies. It's important for the dads to feel like, hey, if you want to jump in and you want to get this experience or bonding time or whatever, then you can. It's there for you, you know. So that's pretty much why I decided to do it. Now, keeping up with it, it's a whole beast, you know. You have to make sure that you're pumping, because that's how you're going to produce and keep that steady milk supply. Now, thank God, I haven't had a problem with producing my milk supply and, you know, doing all that, because I keep up with the maintenance of pumping. So I make sure that I pump. Even when I go out, it's hard. Not gonna lie, it is a task. Like when you're out, because it's every 3 hours, okay? So by the time I feed both of the twins, I literally don't have but maybe an hour, you know, before I have to turn around and pump, get ready for the next feeding time, okay? So we're going out. I've already fed them. We're in the car. Less than an hour. I'm hoping that we're at our location where I can pump again and get ready. excuse me. If we're not, then that means we have to pull over. I have to pump. You know, it's just, you have to keep up with it. That's what I tell any of my friends, people who ask me for advice, because I've actually produced my first set of twins. I produced so much milk, and everywhere I was reading, all the advice I took, everyone said, girl, make sure that if you're producing all this, make sure you're freezing it and you're storing it, because your milk supply may go away. You can't really control it. So I did that. My husband actually bought me, I don't know the exact size, and I'll probably try to insert a picture, but he bought me a huge deep freezer, like one of them I could put a whole body in, deep freezers. I filled that whole thing up, and then he also bought me another, just a like smaller one, and I filled that up as well. Like, I was pumping and producing so much milk, like. And keep in mind, the milk that I was storing, that was just extra, okay? When I pump, I, you know, put it in the bottles for the kids. They get the fresh milk, and then the frozen was just what I was producing extra. So, and I had 2 deep freezers full probably before they were 6 months old. So, that's a lot. And I'm not gonna lie, now that I've gone through that, I do not store milk. So just to be clear, when I say I don't store milk, I don't put any milk in the freezer for a rainy day or just in case my milk supply goes. My thoughts is, like I said, I didn't use any of that milk, any of it, okay? So I literally was sitting there either throwing it out, defrosting it. No, look, it was a whole thing. It was just too much. I didn't even use it for none of my kids. So after that experience, I didn't even store another drop of milk in the freezer. Only time I store milk is now that I'm back to going to work. I will have the milk ready that needs for that day, and that's it. Like, that's it. I'm not gonna lie, I may like store a little bit in the freezer just in case. You never know what may happen, you know, just in case an emergency. But I'm not going crazy with the storing the milk and all of that. Now, I will say my main tip or my main advice for making sure that you have that steady milk flow is you have to eat right. Like, you have to consume, I'm not saying you have to consume more, but you have to make sure that you're eating the right foods that will keep that steady milk supply. And I'm not gonna lie, it's very tricky, because I know for me, my previous babies that I've had, normally at like month 3, I am starting the working out again, and you know, trying to cut back and eliminate different things out. But you will see, or at least I saw, that you can't go as hard as you would if you weren't pumping, because you have to make sure that you're getting those calories and those good calories. So you have to make sure that you're eating right to sustain that milk supply, but you have to make sure you're eating right to lose the weight too. That's a whole nother thing. I'm telling you. So if that's what you're trying to do, I mean, God bless you. And another thing with breast pumping, breastfeeding, you're going to be so thirsty. No one told me that. Like, I swear, I kid you not, I can probably go through probably 2 gallons of water in a day. No joke. I know for me, when I have like a 40 ounce, I normally keep it near me. Oh. I have this, okay? And I go through, I don't know, maybe 6, 7, 8 of these. Because, I mean, I do have a little ice in it. So, that's why I say like 6, 7, 8, 9. I mean, I can go through, I fill this up a lot of times. And it got to the point where, obviously, I've been doing this for years now. A few pregnancy babies ago. We just converted over to using our filter on our refrigerator, because the amount of waters that we were buying, it was ridiculous. ridiculous. So the recycling bin, it was crazy. It made no more sense anymore. So just go to the water for us. That's what worked for me, okay? Putting the filter on, buying that little filter replacement, it's cheaper, it works better, space, love it. So you're going to be thirsty if this is the journey you're going to take. You're going to drink so much water. And it's a good benefit. It's nothing wrong with it. I'm not complaining about the water drinking at all. But it was just, I already drunk water before, but it's on a whole nother level. Like, I remember the first time I actually asked my doctor, like, is this normal to be so thirsty? Because it wasn't even the fact that I was drinking so much water, it was just I was so thirsty. And then I also found that drinking juice, soda, cut that out, because that's only gonna make it, for me, it made it worse. Like, that stuff already makes you more thirsty anyway, but breastfeeding, it just made me more thirsty. Like, I had to cut that out, just drink water. It works. And that will also help with a lot of other things too, so it's beneficial. But yeah, you know, I'm not here to knock anyone or anyone's choices. So if you guys want to breastfeed, breast pump, do what's best for you. And I'm not saying it's a bad thing, it's just, I'm just letting you know that it's a commitment, okay? You have to stick with, well, you don't have to, but if you're going to do it, commit. That's all it is. And for me, the way I get through a lot of my first year baby stages is just saying it's just for a year, you know. Next thing you know, you'll look up and it's 4 months, it's 6 months, 8 months, you know. A year flies by, believe it or not, it flies by. And then a year comes and you're like, okay, wait a minute, no, why stop? Or maybe you want to continue a little longer. Maybe once you get to that date, you like, that's it. Hey, you made it a year. You know, you committed, you did what you said you was going to do, and you came out through it. So that's what it is, you know. And yeah, you know. But you guys, I'm not gonna ramble on too much. If you guys like this video, let me know, comment below, like it, subscribe. But if you guys want more in detail thoughts and opinions on just breastfeeding, or weaning off of breastfeeding, or keeping up with the milk flow and how I did all of that, let me know. I'm definitely up for doing more videos on breastfeeding, because I'm not gonna say it's a taboo conversation, but it's definitely a topic that I personally didn't have anyone in my life that shared their experiences on it, because I don't really know if anyone's done it that I know personally. It's not something that comes up in conversation. But hey, if you guys want more videos, I'm here to give it, my knowledge and my experiences. And like I told you, I stick to a schedule. My time is now. As you can hear, my baby is starting to whine, so I have to go. All right, if you guys like this video, comment, like, subscribe. I'll see you in the next one. Bye.